All right, cool. All right, thanks for hopping on, everyone. So this one we're gonna have Matt here. Oh, here's Marianne. From Kinetic Lab. He's gonna kind of talk about sales funnels, the importance of sales funnels for real estate agents, and then the different types of sales funnels and how he kind of goes about creating them. But really, most importantly, the importance of them for agents. So Matt, if you want to just go ahead and I'll put you in the driver's seat. If you want to share you can share your screen if you want. I'll let you share here.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me make sure my presentation is still here. Of course, as soon as I go to bring it up, it goes away. All right. All right. So we're way ahead in here. Sorry about that. So yeah. So this is a whole kind of like a overview on sales funnels, and how you can start implementing them into essentially your workflow. So the idea behind this is almost like creating an assistant that can work for you like 24/7 so you can prioritize other things and kind of scale and build your business. I know kind of the reason why I started doing a lot of this is a lot of the agents I talk to, even just businesses in general, you're like sitting around waiting for, you don't know when the next lead's coming in, whether it's like you're creating social media, hoping somebody's going to come from that. And usually without a strategy or a plan with that, you're just kind of almost like shooting darts in the dark. You know what I mean? You don't know if something's going to land, if a lead's going to come from it. So implementing funnels into your system can definitely help with that. So we're gonna kind of move in. So that's kind of this first slide's about that. It's like imagine being able to wake up and having like leads in your system ready to go. So it's honestly for anybody. So agents tired of doing cold calling, chasing unqualified leads, struggling to get inconsistent deal flow, and you want a system that works 24/7 so you can kind of focus on other things. Um, so why this is kind of a breakdown of why you should do this. So like traditional methods of everything is like cold calling. You're going to spend more hours doing that, like door knocking. Like traditional businesses, sometimes literally it's going door to door. There's VA door knocking too now. So having a virtual assistant that can do stuff. Chris actually has some of that going on in the back end of his stuff. But sometimes there's a lot of hours allocated to that with a little results. Same thing, posting random content without a clear strategy is really sometimes aggravating. And then how many times are you getting phone calls or not able to answer the phone and you lose a deal because like that buyer or seller is literally moving on to the next person that you're just not quick enough to answer your phone. So essentially sales funnels can jump in and start filling in some of those gaps, like capturing and organizing your leads automatically. So like as soon as you capture name, phone number, email, it can go right into your CRM or whatever system you're using. You can nurture leads through like email campaigns or DMs, text campaigns, or just putting information on a lead on a landing page can actually nurture your potential clients to already know a little bit more about you and then before they hire you. And you're essentially warming up potential buyers and sellers so they're ready to go. Um, so now I'm going to talk about the different types of funnels. So authority funnel, and I think most of you kind of based on content, I know Corey, and you kind of all automatically are already fitting into this world when it comes to doing social media content. You're posting content that puts you as an authority in the space. You're jumping on like doing like webinars, something like this. You're doing podcasts. You're speaking at engagements, kind of putting yourself on a stage so people come to you. So that way you're building the trust. So that way your clients are coming to you because they trust you automatically. You're not having to like go out and try to find the lead. And a lot of the bigger real estate agents in the industry nationwide, like Ryan Serhant is a big person like this. You know his name because of he's on reality. Like people go to him because of his he's an authority in the space. So building a funnel that helps put you into that space will help. So putting out social media content, jumping on podcasts, speaking events, start. uh putting out we do a lot of like lead gen. So if you have like how many times do most of you are probably asked the same question over and over again by clients. It's like whether it's a first time home buyer, they all have the same basic questions when they're starting. So if you can use that to your advantage and having like a lead gen, whether it's like a first time home buyer guide or here's 3 steps to getting your credit, whatever. There's so many different options by putting out pieces of content or information, PDFs, downloadable, whatever documents within your content or email strategy helps put you as in this authority system like level. So that way you're just capturing the leads that way.
Matt, when you
Um,
say authority, is that more like educational stuff? Like,
yep, it's education content. It's it's yeah, it's pretty kind of what it sounds like. It's like you are like you becoming known for your resources and your education on this field. So in real estate, you know what I mean? Um, and that's the core foundation of how you're finding your leads. It's through that. It's like you're putting stuff out there so that people trust you and they come right to you right away without you having to go find them. The next one, which is perspective funnels, this is something that's kind of like there's a couple of parts to this. So it's changing how prospects view their challenges and the solutions. So in like using storytelling to and like case studies and creating more of an emotional connection through your content. So sharing more about you as a person. So like an example would be instead of saying like I help first-time home buyers, you know what I mean? If I'm going to put a email out or a piece of social media content, instead of always being like, "Oh, I help first-time home buyers do this," yada yada yada, you can actually start doing more storytelling and be like, "Hey, I worked with, say, Sarah. She had been renting her house for 7 years, never thought in those 7 years or even after that she would ever be able to afford a house. But I, through a piece of content that I put out, gave like clear steps on how to buy her house. She loved this. She found the value in it. She reached out to me and like we sat down, had a consultation, and next thing you know, 6 months later, she bought her first house. So it's like leaning into storytelling and how you can present yourself and become more relatable to your audience. You can shift perspectives and kind of get people to feel more comfortable coming to you through your stories and how you relate to potential clients. And the thing about perspective funnels is there's kind of some shifts. So everybody coming into real estate, whether it's an investor, buyer, seller, there's different starting points like I want to say it's like different barriers of entry into real estate. So if it's like first time home buyer, they're coming in with maybe no knowledge of how anything works, but somebody maybe is buying their second house. They're still a buyer, but maybe they're buying their second house. They've already gone through the process. They've already gone through this. Maybe you didn't help them buy the first one, but maybe they had a bad transaction or bad deal or something about it wasn't right for them to hire the same agent again. Being able to emotionally connect through like, oh, I've worked with so many buyers that have struggled with past buying experiences, and maybe through how you present everything, you help guide them to a better experience within buying. You know what I mean? So it's like same thing with investors. Investors are a completely different type of um, buyer. You know what I mean? So you're speaking to them completely different than you would for a first time home buyer. So being aware of the levels that people are coming into real estate will and putting that into your content, whether it's emails or whatever, all this stuff will help like gain more leads, I guess, is what I'm
the,
trying to say.
the one that comes to mind is I think Marianne works a lot with like, people moving. Marianne, correct me if I'm wrong, but you work with a lot of people just from the past content you've put on there, relocating to Syracuse, right? So it's basically sharing a story, Matt, right?
Yep.
That
Yep.
about how she helped people move and find the right spot, but for someone who's never been to Syracuse.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that is like you can even go into this is bringing some of the authority stuff into perspective funnels and all this is like maybe you have an investor that maybe is I'm just going to throw out like in Indiana, but whatever. So being able to compare like the Indiana real estate to Syracuse real estate, be like, hey, instead of you want to grow your like generational wealth, you want to do all this stuff and like you want to buy another property, like look at your money goes so much further, say here in Central New York, than it will here. You know what I mean? And like you can share stories of like actual people that have done this. It's like and persuading or shifting the perspective of somebody like, oh, I'm only in this area, I can only buy here. Well, you might be able to bring them to Central New York because their money is going to go further. All the stuff with Micron going on, like there's a lot of options out there to start getting people to lean into you as a resource or and hopefully hire you um, and just do more storytelling. Storytelling is a big part of this perspective funnel, which a lot of you do already. I feel like I see a lot of this in a lot of your content already. Um, this next one is AI powered funnel. So AI I'm going to use very loosely because there is some higher level AI components that are available that I've been implementing across the board for some other businesses. But um, so what I have here is just utilizing machine learning for lead scoring and qualification. This is the AI component now. Now you're actually able to a big thing is that the people love doing our quizzes. There's actually studies that are saying that like if you're on a website or a landing page and like a quiz pops up, it sparks people's interest to like answer the questions compared to a traditional like a like a survey. And the cool thing about the AI side about it, or even how you build it, you almost are kind of becoming your own AI based on how you can build these funnels or these quizzes, is like based on how you can have like a question of like, um, are you looking to buy, sell, or invest? You know what I mean? Based on how somebody answers that first question, completely can change the trajectory of how the quiz goes. So like essentially they answer step-by-step questions and it goes in a different route based on how that lead comes in. So you can have the same lead landing page out there, say with a form like a Google Doc or what like a freebie attached to it. And all of a sudden, if somebody clips like I want to buy, it'll go to only buyer specific questions and then lead to a specific like let's jump on a buyer consultation at the end of this, or here's my first time home buyer guide. But the same person or another person can come onto the funnel and say like I want to sell my house. So it's going to go through the seller questions and the same thing. The end result would be like here's a let's do a like a strategy plan on selling your house fast for the most money. You know what I mean? So you can you can structure these in a way that you can have one piece of like a funnel out there, but you can, based on with AI and how you structure them, you can guide people in different trajectories essentially. And you can personalize the content based on that. So like if they fill out a form, they get this lead, then all of a sudden, like you can have an email campaign goes out that only speaks to, say, sellers or only speaks to a buyer. It's like a nurturing campaign. And essentially, like you can start automating a lot of these complex conversations. Like there's AI. This is a conversation Chris and I were having before. You can actually have an AI assistant now sit answer your phone for you. So how many times if you want to go on vacation? Well, if you want to be busy, they say go to the airport, and all of a sudden your phone's going to start going off. So like, how many times have you sat down trying to relax, and all of a sudden you just get bombarded with phone calls? But you can only answer one at a time in most people's cases. But you can actually have an AI assistant jump in now that knows how you offer things and actually can answer the phone call and then take all the information from that person and then implement it all into your CRM. So like all of a sudden you could have say 7 to 10 people call you at one time. You might not be available, but it'll pick up the phone and it'll prioritize the information for you in your CRM based on how they're answering questions. Um, I don't want to go too deep into this because there's a lot of levels to it. But essentially being able to um, have AI like step in and it becomes like your virtual assistant that can just run in the background.
And it doesn't, man, it doesn't have to be like a full blown AI system. Like there's a
Oh,
tool you can integrate into Instagram that I mean I've used. I don't know if Corey's
yes.
used it. Maybe I know Marianne's used it. I
Yep, your
think
DM
ManyChat,
campaign,
right?
ManyChat. So ManyChat, and then ManyChat can jump in, and if you do a piece of content, you'd be like, we all see in these videos now, it's like DM me a keyword, and I'll send you something. And I always say, like, if you're gonna go down that route, not everything, not every piece of content you have to put out has to be have to have a DM me this campaign behind it. You should be intention, like there should be some intent behind it. Like if you know this a video you're gonna put out is like talking to a buyer, use the DM, like DM me this and I will send you this free guide. You know what I mean? You can have ManyChat, or there's some other services that even that we use that'll automatically send over that lead form to a DM to the person, and then you can start up a conversation. You can have like buttons come up on the screen that says like I have a question, and if the person clicks it, maybe they don't want the guide, maybe they just have a specific question. They can push a button on the screen that'll pop up, and it'll redirect back to your DM, and you can start a conversation. You can actually embed like your phone number, like call me, and if they hit the button, it'll directly call you if you're available. There's a lot of things you can implement into your videos, like content, to keep a conversation going. So it's you have a better chance of securing a lead instead of like them just going away. But not every single piece of content you put out has to have like a DM campaign or something attached to it. Because sometimes they do get annoying, especially if you're not trying to become across salesy. Sometimes there's like you're just pushing like call me, call me, call me, or whatever it might be. Some I've actually gotten feedback, so even some friends that they're just tired of seeing them all the time. So like having a strategy of when to use those is going to be to your advantage. Um, I don't know if you have any other questions on that with the ManyChat or
Can you hear me?
yeah,
Oh, sweet.
kind of.
Do you guys have oh, I didn't even realize. Hi. Do you guys have a sample list of how you use ManyChat? I feel like for me, I think I told you guys the other day, I had to turn parts of it off because I was using generic words last year. Now I don't, but it seems like blind that I'm just, let me just throw this in here. Oh, I have this one freebie. So I know that I'm personally not using it to the best that it could be, but we're all so busy that I just haven't spent time. Like I was going to task my VA to go further into it, but it's also not, it's going to sound terrible. So like I'm not, I'm not a role model here, just for anybody listening. Um, but I just haven't looked further into it. I haven't made it a priority. And although I feel like it would be such a time saver, I think I want to prioritize it this year though, because to Chris's point earlier, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I get a lot of relocation. I think one of them, and specifically in the last month, I've gotten like three people who found a 5-year-old YouTube video of mine talking about VA and relocation. And like they just pop up in my calendar. Like I have a 5 p.m. today that I almost missed, and I'm having one of my agents take on. And it's also a relocation. So I don't know where it's coming from. Like I don't know how they're finding, but it is. And I kind of wish I had more follow-up to it. Like right now on my calendar, I just have some questions, but I wish that I had better follow-up in my ManyChat because people go in there and like I'm terrible at looking at my request box. I've had people in there that I respond to them a month later and like those still convert, but it was like weeks later and I just don't look into it. So I know ManyChat can help in that. Do you guys have any like examples or like
Let me share. I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint for. So I actually don't use ManyChat as often anymore.
I'm using the free version, by the way. You guys all know I like to use that first. So like I'm not afraid to like pay into it. I don't want to pay into it and like I'm not spending the time to really utilize it. So like I use the keyword buy and then I had to stop using that because like in normal conversations with people, if they put the word buy, it'll trigger. So like
Yep.
I don't mind like Chloe the other day was like watermelon. That's like a cool one, you know, and like the easy one that I use right now is on my carousel post for just listed, I'll choose the street name. It's like it's it's like Niblick Circle. I'll say DM Niblick to schedule your tour or more info or whatever, and I'll change it up. Like sometimes I'll do like my hunt website because obviously it keeps retargeting them, or I'll if they put like schedule, whatever word I was using, I'll bring it to my Calendly so they can just schedule the showing. That's kind of the extent that I'm using it now. I know there's way more that you can do with it. I just haven't spent the time.
So I'm going to switch over. So this is what I've been using. So if anybody familiar with like Go High Level? So it's like another CRM. So I've been using Go High Level. We're actually like white labeling it, which is cool. So this is kind of going into that a little bit. So because
Okay.
I realized with many chat, you are limited a little bit on how far you can kind of push some stuff, or you have to add more steps like after
Yeah.
certain
And
thing.
that's where it takes time. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I'm back in MySpace days.
yeah, yeah.
So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid to get lost in that. Is that really the best use of time when someone probably like has this down pat? Like it makes me feel kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm really trying to learn, you know, coding over. Do I
Yeah,
really need to do this?
yeah. No, that's going to take too much time. So, so I mean, this is essentially the same thing. It's the same type of thing, but this is through how we set up. So I can have like a Facebook or Instagram like DM campaign go out, and then it'll come through. Like I can set up the actual specific message. But the nice thing with this is I can add extra steps outside of it. So like I usually add like a wait time so it doesn't sound like F 2 seconds later it's too spammy. So I can add wait times and the nice thing about this one is based on how the person's interacting through all my steps, I can have all these other things happen. So right now, like if they don't even download the free guide or whatever I have here, it just goes away. Like they don't get anything else. If they do download the guide, obviously another step jumps in and it sends it over and then it ends. You know what I mean? On mine, I actually have this is what I was talking about. You can add like get the guide, book a call so they can literally call me right away. And then I have a question. This is cool because this, say if somebody really is coming across the thing and it sparks an idea, but maybe they don't want to jump on a call with you, or they're more comfortable starting a conversation through DM. Like the I have a question will literally ping back to my messenger and then I can carry on the conversation. But the nice thing is with this, I can keep adding out more options. So I can have them redirect to a website. I can start an email campaign that happens right after this happens. You know what I mean? Instead of having to do so many, I mean, this you can just keep branching this out. It's pretty far. Um,
So do you, sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it because
yeah,
again, limited knowledge on many chats. So you use this to do all of that? Because
yeah,
I
yep.
also use Zapier and I was trying to figure out for when it gets more, not I don't want to say complicated, but like more the steps to more utilize, really just maximizing that conversion. I was starting to think, am I supposed to do automations in Zapier then? Or
You
does that
can. I
make
mean,
sense?
Zapier is available. It's just yeah. There's a lot of different resources you can keep tying together, and you just it's. I
I
found
don't
with
know if that's the best though. Like I feel limited in it and what I know, and I'm not afraid to use other pieces. It's about connecting it. And I'll be honest with you, like Zapier is great, but it's also very overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It's super overwhelming because then it's just another step. You got to add more information. You got to make
Yeah,
sure they're connecting. And I've had issues where Zapier, for some reason, it says it's connected, but it's actually not. Like Zapier, I was trying to do it a long time ago with like my Instagram. Like on here, my Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything's linked. But for some reason, before when I was using with Zapier with Notion integration,
yeah.
the connection wasn't there. And I literally got so frustrated, I almost threw my computer the one day because it was
It's
not.
great when it works, right? But then it's also this weird level of like, okay, if I add this one thing, does it fuck up the whole?
Yep.
And does it like mess with the rest of my automations that were just working perfectly fine?
Yep. So
So
it's I guess to your point is if you can still, there's no right or wrong way. It's actually just comes down to like what do you have the most success putting together, and then how easy is it to keep the conversation going, or is it just gonna at one point do you let it fall off and like is it worth your time anymore? So
is
like
it okay if I ask like what do everybody else here you like? I guess I'm just trying to figure out examples further than like the go-tos, you know?
Mhm.
Um, I don't know what you guys ever use them for or had ideas on. Anybody else?
I don't have any of them integrated into my stuff, so this is all like new programs to me.
That's so surprising to me, Cora, because you have a very strong like email campaign that I feel like it comes across you would have like every automation on the earth.
Yeah,
Yeah, how are you
I feel
fitting that?
like I didn't want to be like a MySpace coder with my profile, so I just like have avoided it. But I've avoided it for my own like it's not like me doing it maliciously. I think part of me is just afraid to jump in and start learning another program.
I don't even have like a consistent email campaign going on. Chris will laugh, like I read his emails. So like when that one email came through, I was like, who is this? That company? I was like, he was like, wait, you just read that? I'm like, I actually read your guys' emails. Anybody else? I just use, and I really only mainly have it connected to Instagram right now, only because I had Facebook connected, but there was this time where like a lot of the bots were coming out hard. So for some reason, I felt like when I had it connected to ManyChat, it was a magnet for those bots, especially the ones that pose as like your account is in danger and blah blah blah, and like you have to just keep like blocking those fake accounts.
Those things are so annoying. Like every day,
Yeah.
like you violated this. Like we're gonna close your page, and that's the thing is like I tell everybody, the more you start posting, the more those pop up. So
Yeah.
if you are new to it, if you're new to posting, don't. It's easy to get sucked into like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, and then you just freak out and stop. Um, so, uh, Chelsea, do you do any like any of this stuff? What do you?
I just answer everything individually.
Yeah.
Girl, your TikTok, I feel like you should get ManyChat connected
I know. I
to
need to do
help out
something. That's
there.
why I'm here.
Yeah.
I need something to simplify my life.
And the nice thing is like there's so many essentially if you take the time and actually go through and start creating maybe just some of these resources that you just like I said, if like how many of these questions are you just getting asked over and over again? Go on like Canva, come up with whatever software, what do you want to create like a freebie, like that becomes a lead magnet that you can turn into something that you can automate on the back end. You don't have to think you got to jump right in and go as far as like I need to integrate all this AI stuff. Like there's opportunities to find one piece and then slowly filter it into what you're doing. So whether it is using ManyChat, like do Instagram, and like just it doesn't have to be as overwhelming as you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Start small. I mean,
I
that's what I did. Like I created like a first time buyer guide. It was like 2 pages PDF. And I started with ManyChat and set up the triggers and they received this like super simple buyer guide, but it allowed me the whole point is just to get in their contact information.
yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. So like start small and then like as perfect one thing, maybe it's the ManyChat with a guide. Then you could upgrade to I don't know, maybe like the authority funnel, right? Or the perspective funnel. Because I mean, everybody has those. Everybody has a perspective funnel. If you think about it, everyone has a story, right? But I would start small and go with like the ManyChat and a guide.
Do you want me to show? Is it beneficial if I show like what something like that looks like? What does everybody know
Yes,
like a simple
please.
landing page or what a funnel or not a funnel, but like a lead magnet looks like?
Yeah, let's show that what that looks like.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on a second. So on my end, so this is we have. I'm just going to show on my business end of stuff. So I have in any of these automations that come out, like I have like an email funnel. So this is just like an email. Actually, I was going to send this out to everybody today. But so this is a template that I just created that can just go out after one of these funnels happens. You know what I mean? So if I capture a lead somewhere or attention, somebody wants like if I get their phone number, name, email, I can start entering them into like a email drip campaign. So I just set down and I have like 40 of these templates for all the different things that we do. You know what I mean? This is a working landing page So I created just a landing page for this. I do like this one-on-one coaching, branding, workshop stuff. So same thing. I just drive traffic to this page, and then if somebody clicks on it, they can just sign up. I have a pop-up. So this is where I capture their information, and it goes right into my CRM. And then I have it triggered that as soon as I capture a lead from this, an email campaign will go out. You know what I mean? So I can be doing other stuff and randomly, hopefully, people are stumbling upon this page, and I start getting phone numbers and emails, and then you literally just start adding them up over time, like just sending them in the different directions they need to go. So when I was talking about this quizzes, like based on how somebody comes into the page, that whatever answers they're giving me, they'll get directed to the right funnel, like into the right system, the right CRM. They just get added to the right column. And then whether I need to do like a direct follow-up, like a phone call, or if it's a Calendly thing, I know who to reach out, and they're become like a hot lead or co-lead. So um same thing, not going too overwhelming with the AI stuff. You can actually like rank people with like a based off these quiz scores. If they become a high priority, AI will know, and they'll put them in a certain spot, and they'll put you at the top of the list to be able to call those people. If somebody's just searching for random information and they're just kind of like browsing, like AI, or based on how you set your system up, they'll know they're low priority, and then you can send them in this direction to hopefully nurture them to become a high priority lead.
Yeah.
So
the biggest thing these do, I think, is like it makes you super efficient, right? Like you don't have to spend your time going through 10 leads that probably take, I don't know what, 5-10 minutes to go through, right? There's an hour of your time that no one's going to buy a house at that stage, that if they're just window shopping kind of thing. But it allows you to put them in a different system and a different funnel to kind of be top of mind, right? So I think this whole thing is about efficiency.
Yeah, 100%. We can go back to, I mean, we can keep going through this, I guess. Sorry, bear with me for a second. I got too many windows open. It's the problem. So kind of that sums up like all the funnels. We kind of already talked about why this is beneficial. So it's just increasing like conversion rates. You have literally out 24-hour lead nurturing without manual intervention. The ROI side of this too. So spend, like I said, spend a little bit of time coming up with some of these lead magnets and then sending them into a system. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, especially in real estate, is like a first-time home buyer is almost like I already know so much information up front before you're going to your first like consultation meeting with them based on the content and stuff you're putting out. You can answer a lot of these questions, and they're like, it's almost like you're, I don't want to say vetting your clients, but like they just learn so much more, and they're so much further along in the process based on how you kind of put your system together. So I have this like 4 stages of high converting funnels. So essentially kind of talking about the same thing. You're attracting people, and then it's you're engaging, how you nurture them, and how you convert them. So like if you can figure out a way, even through one system or one lead magnet, figure out how to do these 4 things, you have a higher percentage of like converting them quickly into a client. So the big thing I talk about is like putting your brand, like who you are, how you separate yourself from all the other agents in the market, like through your social media ads, content, and stuff like that. Like you start grabbing the attention, attracting the people that relate to you. So same thing, building trust and starting conversations through DM, comments, webinars, these lead magnet stuff. You start keeping this conversation going. The warming leads automatically. That's the email sequences. Like people, well, Marianne, you said you read emails. A lot of like some people read them, some people don't. So figuring out what email, if you have a low conversion rate on an email, like people aren't opening it, like you tweak it, change it. Like there's things you need to do. It's like if something's not working, don't throw it out. I always say like stick with what's working, and then revamp and revise the stuff that's not working until it works. And all of a sudden you have 2 versions of it out there, or multiple versions of it out there. And then eventually hopefully you're converting everything. People are going to be calling you like your through your clear call to action strategies and exclusive offers. So like these are four stages of like essentially converting everything or bringing people into your funnel. Um, so we talked about this already, is essentially offering freebies. These are home buyer guides, resource valuations, any of the questions that you're just always answering all the time. You can turn them into free resources. And yeah, Chris
You know
said
what?
keep it simple.
You know what
What?
some people really like, and you can like create your own or like put like a wall on it, but like the mortgage calculators, people
Mhm.
love those. So if you want like offer like a free mortgage calculator and then put like in order to get to it, you gotta give up your email. I've done that
Yep.
too. That works really, really well.
Yep. And you'd be surprised how many people are willing to just give an email
Right.
for something. You know what I mean? There's no, and then yes, I know. Like I think Kieran's here. Kieran, I know, has some stuff like that he's been working on. So like being able to put those into your system, like it's just gonna it opens the doors for just grabbing attention. And everybody loves free stuff in a way. It's
Yeah.
like they don't realize that it's something small maybe on your end, but like it's massive for somebody for them to get a piece of information right up front. Um, Anybody have any questions on any of that so far?
I want to jump into like I know this might be overwhelming for some, like all these systems and AI and all that stuff, but like this is what Matt does. Like this is what his
All
company
data.
does. So if this is something that you're thinking of implementing or want to do, Matt is definitely the guy to set it up.
I'm even just use me as a resource. Like
Yeah.
so I'm jumping ahead a little bit. So actually I'll backtrack. So they're kind of the reason why doing all this stuff. Same with the branding and the content, like doing these content days with Chris and stuff like that, is like there's uh, in real estate, you have so many different levels of eight. So somebody could be like a year or 6 months to you, 2 years in, but are still trying to get leads coming in, but you want to do social media content. Other agents maybe are 30 years in, like have a good referral system and all that, but they know they need to do social media to kind of keep up with some stuff. It's like I'm very well aware of that. Like, not everybody's ready to hand the reins off to like a marketing company to run their system for you. But if I can give you the tools to build it yourself with guidance and even building your brand and social media content strategy, like give you the tools and resources to do it at a higher success rate and better quality than somebody's just kind of winging it. Like that's why I love doing this stuff. So like you can use me as a resource, even if it's just a phone call. Like ask questions. Like it's not like we're telling you you got to hire me in my company to do this stuff for you. Like we have all the tools. I've built a lot of this in Notion. So some of you are used to hearing Chris and I talk about Notion. That's a system that we use, and I have essentially like a DIY step-by-step guide, both building your brand and also implementing these sales funnels that is available that we can show you how to use. Or I mean, we can just take it over and run everything for you. And like so, there's lots of different levels to this whole thing. I don't Same thing. We kind of talked about this. I don't really need to go too much. This is just automating emails and texts. There's so many things out there that could just be a tool to use. Um, Facebook ads, I mean, same thing as within your social media, like running ads in a specific area it gives you more visibility. You can reach people that aren't necessarily in your network of followers through running ads. I know, Marianne, you mentioned like retargeting a bunch. I've mentioned, I've talked about retargeting to a couple of people and they didn't really know what that was. So if you don't know what that is, a good way to explain it is like, say if you're like on a website, you're on like Nike or something like that. You're looking at a pair of shoes and all of a sudden you put it in your cart, but you don't buy it, or you leave the thing and all of a sudden go to Facebook. Like you might see that ad popping up for like a similar pair of shoes or pair of shoes. That's like retargeting. So all of a sudden, a lot of these companies have these they're trying to stay top of mind. So you can implement these strategies essentially just to remind somebody, be like, hey, you saw me. Maybe you liked what I do. Here's what else I have to offer. Like, don't forget about me. It's like you can kind of keep it's like it freaks people out sometimes. Like, how do they know I was just on the site? But that's what retargeting is.
Just go to cars.com and immediately go to a different website,
Yeah,
and that's retargeting.
that's retargeting. Yeah. Uh, so this is going back to the call to actions, like the contact me button. So I like to get like I like to have a strategy behind it instead of just like winging it. So if you're using the call to actions to drive traffic, um, even creating like urgency. And actually, I'm gonna throw Kieran in again. I mentioned something about like saying sometimes like, oh, I'm ready to work with. I'm only gonna work with like three buyers this month. All of a sudden, like it kind of creates a sense of urgency. Like, oh, like this person's busy. Like he or she's looking for three buyers or whatever. You kind of can create, it's not like it's a weird way to put it, but like a create a sense of urgency to put the ball back in that person's court to take action, to like reach out. Like if they're interested, like there's a limited spots available to like maybe work with this agent, something like that. It's just a tech like a strategy. So same thing I mentioned before, just analyze, tweak, repeat. So if something's not working, fix it. Like keep out there what's working, whatever tools you currently have, and stuff you are doing, like don't reinvent the wheel, just keep refining it, but then experiment with other stuff. And if it's not working, tweak it. And then once it works, just implement that in and have multiple systems running at the same time. So we're kind of at the end of this whole thing. So Chris mentioned, yeah, I'm just you can use me as a resource. Like we are offering this brand authority accelerator. So back to the social media summit, this is essentially what we were talking about. Is like help. I'm here to help agents literally go branding, social media content strategy, and actually like how to produce content, how to edit content, how to use lighting, how to all the fundamentals of like higher production value content, and then all the way through into running paid ads. So it's like a course we offer. And then the Growth Lab is essentially this CRM like funnel system. So we have two systems that we're running. And then I know Chris and I have been pushing the school community. So Chris, did you put that in the
I
chat?
just put that link in the chat. Um, so that's an invite link. So I would definitely encourage anyone who hasn't joined yet to join.
It's free.
And it, we could just create a community of real estate agents. And if you click on the classroom tab here, I'll share my screen for now, really quick. You'll see like a bunch of free like guides, like how-to guides, Facebook marketing, masterclass in AI, like all this different stuff in here that is free. We are going to be starting to put walls on it, so you have to be engaging in the community, which is right here. This is the wall. So if anyone has like a question, or if anybody like is seeing something that's working, we definitely encourage to share it right on here, so other people can kind of take a look at it.
I'm going to
Um,
be posting like challenges too through here.
yep.
Like challenges, like if we're in the community, if you do some of these challenges and show your results, like there's going to be, we're going to offer like prizes and things like that. Like just, I want to keep engagement and like use it as a space for like growth, essentially. That's why it's called the Growth Lab. Like I'm all about experiment and figuring out, like learn from each other, implement the things that work, take away the things that don't work, and essentially like use this as a place as a resource. So, and I tell everybody like there's so much information out there, especially with Chat GPT and just Googling stuff all the time. Is like everybody, some people don't know how to use Facebook the right way. Like, or if you don't know how to use Canva, you don't know how to use Chat GPT. Like I'm taking all the knowledge that I have and what I've been doing forever, and then all the resources that I rely on and putting them into this community for everybody to just use as a resource. So it's almost like a one-stop shop. If you have questions, you could probably come to this and figure it out, or lean into the community on stuff. If you are looking for additional resources, like some of these lead magnets, like I'm going to be implementing some of these lead magnets that are kind of for everybody to use, and you can just put them into your system. Um, so that's what the school community is for. So.
Anyone have any questions or anything like that? Well, if you do, I'm gonna share. Matt, put your email in the chat. I'll put in
I have
mine.
yeah, I'll
You do?
put my, I
Okay.
also have a Calendly
How
link.
cold is it in New York?
There's Ryan.
It's cold. Um, well, that's it, guys. I mean, I appreciate it. We're going to be doing this is going to be recorded and actually uploaded into the school academy. So, um, if you wanted to refer back to it, it'll be right in there. Um, and we're going to be doing these once a month. So I will let everyone know. Usually by the end of the month is when they'll be. So I'll let everyone know when the next one will be. So thanks for hopping on.